In this video, I am going to cover how to use Smart Rocker to create a macro for recoil control. For a faster workflow, I recommend to look up the pattern of the recoil. Here I have the pattern split up in straight segments to simplify it, and also a count of the bullets. I need to choose a distance to a target that can stay consistent. Here I have a target 100 meters away.
Let's go over there. Forget that.
Make sure to have mouse shake turned off. If you use it, there is less recoil, but the pattern will be different. I use the plus icon below to add a new macro. I need to choose a keybind to assign the macro to a slot. I also select the amount of bullets on the magazine by changing density. Then I can hit time recording and switch mode to controller to shoot a full magazine, for the macro to record its duration, and divide it equally to give you movement values per bullet fired. I like to save here, exit, and open it again. Here I have labeled each segment so I can count them easy. Based on the pattern, I select the first 10 bullets and apply movement down and left. You can move the dot around or use the arrows to move one unit. After saving, I can enter test mode and fire. We can see here the effect of the movement. I will go on each bullet and give values according to each segment I traced on the image on the left. I can now test the first iteration of the macro. The green progress bar in the middle will show where I stopped shooting. Next, I start to check each segment to see what corrections are needed. This first segment needs more down movement. A few more corrections. Then I can continue fine-tuning the segments. Here I am removing a bit of the side movement as it is overcompensating. Using the progress bar, we will need to start looking where it overcorrects. Stop shooting when it goes out of target and check the values just before. You will need to repeat and go over all segments to fine-tune the values. For example, here it goes too much to the left. This happens around bullet 13. I remove X movement on that segment. Here I just speed up the whole cycle of firing and correcting. This was the result. It will not work with a different magnification.
We should go that way.
You might need to add pull down.
Cancel that.
Increasing the sense comp will increase the strength of the movements. You can increase it to use with higher magnification or to adapt imported macros. Now let's see how to use them. With the settings icon, we can check the binds. Here we have a bind to toggle the macros on and another one to toggle them off. There is also a bind to swap between the two slots. It can also be disabled, and we have the binds for each slot for the macros. Here we can see we have 10 out of 12 macros created. As the pop-up says, I need to press the bind of the slot and the bind of the macro at the same time. Here I press 1 and 7. I have a generic macro for assault rifles I will load. I press bracket and 2 at the same time. Using 1 or 2 will swap the macro and the weapon. Here I also swap the macro after swapping weapon. I can also have the macro only on hip fire or all the time when firing. Here are the macro options. I can choose to remove it from slot. This will remove it from the slot, but send it back to the available macros. I can also leave a note for the curve type used on the macro. Here on the code, you can see the name, Remark. This code can be imported with the icon at the bottom left. It will notify if the bind is already used and show the note. Selecting another bind. I can delete it or multi-select and remove more than one.